Jamie with Stonebuyer Games. Good morning. Ooh, right off the bat, we are low quality. Why does it keep doing this? Sorry, I am on a new computer today, and so Facebook wasn't quite cooperating, or maybe my computer wasn't cooperating with the video. I have video working now. But the quality is really low, so I want to see if I can improve that a little bit. Um, I don't see where to do that right off the bat. Bear with me for one moment here while I see why this quality is it's super low. I don't know if that's related to my settings or if it's just Facebook's level of quality right now. If you happen to know this and want to let me know in the video chat, let me know and I will try to fix it. But as far as I can tell right now, I don't have a way to set it any better. So I think we have to deal with this very low quality stream health. Maybe that's it, stream health. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't look like I can get it any better. So we're going to go with this super grainy, low quality version today. It's all super zoomed in on me too. But anyway, thank you for joining me today or later on YouTube for this super grainy Facebook Live video. I am Jamie, representing Stillmeyer Games, and I'm here to talk about pretty much anything. If you want to ask me any question, I'm happy to answer it. Today in particular is our e-newsletter day, so I might glance over here at my other monitor reel from time to time to talk about certain topics that I brought up in our monthly e-newsletter. I've also posted a link to that e-newsletter in the description for this video if you want to check it out in case you didn't receive it. But yeah, I have a few topics to cover there. I have a few things to show you. Let me see if there's anything else I should talk about. I really wish I could get this video quality better. Yeah, it's super low quality. But I'll look into that after the video. Sorry about that. Um, let's see here. Yeah, some people joining us from around the world today. I love e-newsletter day because people join us oftentimes for the first time. If you are here for the first time, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And I see Francesco Testini in the comments here. I want to mention Francesco. This is one of the topics I was going to mention today. But Francesco has a game on Kickstarter that I'm supporting. I just backed it yesterday called Momiji. This one happens to be a little close to my heart by sheer coincidence because I studied abroad in Hiroshima for 2 summers in high school, and there's a treat there called Momiji Manju, which is it's kind of like a cupcake cookie shaped in the shape of a maple leaf. And this is the Momiji Manju isn't the inspiration for this game, but Francesco talks about the Momiji, which is this maple leaf flower. And he has a game on Kickstarter right now that looks really beautiful, and I backed it just yesterday. So that's Momiga. Momigi. Sorry, I said A there at the end. So feel free to check that out if you are interested in Japanese themed games. I'm really excited about that. What else is going on? I did play some games. So I had a lovely visit with my parents this past week. If you tuned in for last week's live cast, you saw my parents join me for a bunch of different questions and discussions here, which was really neat to have someone else join me for a live cast for once, and of all people, my parents. And so that was a wonderful chat. You can check it out on YouTube now, or it's still further down on the Stonemeyer Games Facebook page. But we did a lot while they were here, but also we didn't do that much. It's kind of a combination of the two. It feels like that time flew by, but it was really nice just to have a fairly low key visit, low stress, not a lot of people around. It was just me, Megan, the cats, and my parents. And so we played a lot of games. We played Sagrada. I taught them Sagrada. We played a few games of Mysterium Park, and we played a game of Wingspan with Oceania. So we had a lot of fun with that. We also played disc golf, or at least my dad and Megan and I did. My mom hung out with us. She wasn't into the disc golf, but she loved the hike portion of it. It was a beautiful day when we were outside. And my mom cooked some wonderful things. We helped out, but she was, the leader of some wonderful dishes that we cooked in the kitchen, including a small break that I took from being vegetarian to make her delicious and eat her delicious crab cakes. And my dad was super helpful in terms of fixing up our condo. Just little things that my dad is really good at fixing and building that we couldn't figure out on our own, including, I don't know if you can tell, but I have a blackout shade right here on this side. He helped me install a blackout shade. It's still kind of light over here, but the shade has made a huge difference in my office, especially for camera time. And he helped with a number of other things around the place. We also tried to treat them to a variety of things here in St. Louis. And oh yeah, the thing I wanted to share from that visit is that my mom brought a photo. Well, I sent her a photo of my cats. I didn't know she was going to do anything with it, but I sent her a photo of the cats, and she took that photo and had an artist draw Biddy and Walter. Using it looks really low res right here because of the camera, but it is a beautiful picture, very detailed of Walter over here and then Biddy on the other side, hanging out on our carpet with one of their favorite toys, this ribbon here. So it's a really I think it might be watercolor and pencil, a combination of the two. But we have this hanging on the wall here, and I wanted to share it with you. Let me jump over to questions real quick, and then I will talk about some e-newsletter content for this month. Let's see. Sean says, "What is the sign behind me?" So that's a good question, Sean. I'm glad you noticed that. Let me see what I'm allowed to say. So there is, I think I can say this, yeah, because you only know this if you're watching the video, but we have a Tapestry Digital in progress right now, and the developer of Tapestry Digital is kind of running a mystery contest, a scavenger hunt. A scavenger hunt is a good way to put it, where he's hiding clues throughout the development journey of this game. And that is a clue. I don't even know what it means, but that is a clue for the Tapestry Digital ongoing scavenger hunt. So I don't know what it means. I don't know exactly what you need to do with it, but there's that information there. If you're watching this video, you now know what that means. And you can probably find out more if you go to the Tapestry Digital Facebook group. Eric says, "Don't worry about the quality. It just looks like you're streaming from the 1990s. It definitely does look like that today." David says, "A number of publishers are posting digital versions of games in conjunction with Kickstarters or retail launches. Would you consider this for any of your games?" Yeah, David, yeah, we do this for most of our games. I would say most of our games and expansions. So it's I find it the easiest to work with Tabletopia. Tabletopia is really good at I send them the files for a game or an expansion, and they put together the Tabletopia version of that game or that expansion. So they are our main partner for that type of thing. So people can kind of demo the game as it launches. It isn't always ready by the time that we launch our pre-order. Sometimes it's ready a little bit later, but it often is. Board Game Arena is a lot more involved. We are working on an official version of a game for Board Game Arena, but I don't think that would work for launches as well. But Tabletopia is kind of the way that we do that. Yeah, oftentimes either in conjunction with a launch or soon after. Another David, yeah, different David here, says, "Can you elaborate on buying stocks in private board game companies? What is the general experience?" Yeah, so that's a big question. I do have some blog posts about this, David, if you want to dive in a little deeper. But basically, it depends on the company's structure. I will talk a little bit about what I know, which is that Stonemaier Games is an S corp. It's a U.S. entity. It's a legal entity in the U.S. For tax purposes. It's an S corp, and for an S corp, if a company wants to sell shares of their company, they can do so privately. They can't publicly kind of promote it or advertise it. But if an investor goes to them and says, "Hey, I love your company. I have some money to invest, and I'm hoping to get a return on my investment in terms of money, and also maybe help out the company a little bit with my level of expertise and gain some value by engaging with that company privately." The company can choose to sell some shares to that person. In the U.S., if you're an S corp, you can only sell shares to U.S. citizens. That is just a rule for S corps. And I think every company deals with that differently. I think some companies don't do anything with those shares. They don't create shares to do anything with them. Other companies do. But that's my experience as a S corp company here in the U.S. Chad says he was looking at the newsletter and it looks like you have big plans for 2021. Do you feel like you're on schedule? Yes, in 2021, the things that we have listed here, we have a new game, codename Gold, that is estimated for 2021. We have the Between Two Castles expansion estimated for 2021. Also, Rolling Realms, the tabletop version of Rolling Realms in 2021. A second Tapestry expansion. And that's where I end the 2021 stuff. And yes, if I put a date on this calendar or a year on this calendar, I'm fairly confident that we will actually have the product ready in that year. It's not for sure, but yeah, if I put a date on there, that's generally the case. That I'm pretty sure we'll have it ready sometime during that year. Sircon says, where is Stonemaier Games based? We're based in St. Louis, Missouri, in the U.S. Now, one of the big things I mentioned in the e-newsletter, I actually have two things. So, one is if you are a subscriber to the e-newsletter or you're watching this live cast and you happen to see the link to it, we would love for you to fill out the demographic survey that we posted in this e-newsletter. We send this out once a year. Your information is completely private. Um, the one thing we do use this information from the demographic survey to find ways to better serve the people who follow and support Stonemaier Games. So that is really important. And we also, I share some of that data, the overarching like pie graph version of the data on my Stonemaier Games blog to help maybe other creators learn from industry trends and things like that. And this year, for every 1,000 people who fill out the survey, we are going to give away $100 gift card to the Stonemaier Games web store. So the survey takes like a minute to fill out. It's just a few questions, and you have a chance to win a $100 gift card to our web store, which I will send out to anyone who wins it this Sunday. So just want to throw that out there. If you are watching this, if you see the link, we would love for you to take a minute to do that. The other big thing I talked about in this month's e-newsletter is that the hardcover version of the Scythe Complete Rulebook, which again looks really grainy here in low res, but it is beautiful in real life and in person, this rulebook is now ready. This was going to be ready a few months ago, but we discovered some errors in the Automa sections, the solo sections of the original Spiral Bound rulebook. And so we wanted to fix those first and fix them in the hardcover version too before we release this version at all. So we've done that, and this is now almost at fulfillment center. So if you pre-order it now, we will be shipping it to you really at the latest in early January, maybe a little earlier. So we have a limited quantity of this on our web store right now if you're interested in having this. It's a complete rulebook of all Scythe rules. It's 136 pages and includes FAQs, little variants, and just a ton of information about everything related to Scythe, the world of Scythe, the tabletop game, all in one rulebook. And I said there's a limited quantity, but if we have enough demand for it, we are happy to make more like any of our products. We're happy to make more of it. But you would have to wait quite a while to get the next printing of it if there was demand for us to make that happen. So that is one of the big things that I mentioned on today's e-newsletter. I have a few other things. I'll come back to that. I'll look at questions right now for a minute. Miles says, did I see that Board Game Arena is adding one game a day for all of December? Wow, that's quite ambitious. What games have they added so far here in December, Miles, and the first and second day? I really have loved and appreciated Board Game Arena during the pandemic because it is a way to play kind of medium weight Euro games, the games that I really love, very easily remotely with people as we're unable to get together with people in person. Rolling with Rock says that he recently got his first place in a Wingspan Oceania between two castles of Madkin Ludwig and Pendulum. Quite a few Stonemaier games there that you're playing for the first time. That's awesome. Tim says he said over the last week he says he had fun playing Wingspan Oceania and Europe and the European expansion. He says, have I played Miyabi? It's a polyomino game from the designer of Azul. You create a Japanese garden. I have not played that, but I will make a note of that and check it out. Miyabi. Yeah, thanks for the recommendation, Tim. Danielle says, is that chair near the window for my kitties? She says, I know my cats would be sitting there all day if they could. And indeed, yes, that weirdly positioned chair behind me here is mostly Biddy's chair. I have two cats, Biddy and Walter, or we have two cats. And Biddy most often sits there. He kind of likes the sun there, sit by the window, sometimes look out the window. It is covered with cat hair, so that chair is no longer for humans. It is only for cats. Jeremy says, is there any info that you can share about the planned viticulture expansion? There's plenty of information that I can share, but I'm not going to until we are much closer to being ready to actually release that expansion. But I appreciate your curiosity, Jeremy. Danny says that he saw my video about tidal blades. Yeah, the two videos that I did recently, I did a video about tidal blades, the final flick tier, and a video about games where you are either inspired or required to stand up. Those are the videos from the past few days. Danny says, was there a lot of downtime between players while playing tidal blades? We played a 4-player game. I guess there was a little bit, but even when I wasn't taking my turn, I was still very engaged in what other players were doing and planning ahead what I wanted to do on my turn. So I did not feel the downtime, even if there was maybe a little bit. Danny says also, how did you feel about the mechanism of building your dice and then losing them after being used in a battle? Uh, there's a lot of stuff I love about Tidal Blades. My video focuses on a number of mechanisms that I love. It is one of my favorite games of this year. It has a ton of mechanisms. There's one area of the board where you can go and fight monsters. And when you do fight those monsters, you can lose dice. In fact, you are required to lose dice. And I was honestly, I was a little put off by this originally, and I didn't go fight monsters a lot for that reason. However, I found that it is very easy to get dice in the game. Maybe not get higher level dice, but to get dice is fairly easy. And you can only have 6 total dice. And so there are certain times in the game where you want to get more dice, but you just have too many. And that's a good time to go fight the monsters and lose some dice and then get some better dice instead of those older dice that you have. So um, it's an area of the board that I don't think I will use a lot as a player, but I except for those critical moments where I have too many dice, and I will go and do that. Mateo here chimes in about Momiji as well. Glad to hear that, Mateo. It's a beautiful looking game that you all put together. Anthony says, very cool to hear that you were in Hiroshima when you studied abroad. And that was when I studied abroad in high school. I also studied abroad in Kyoto as a university student. Anthony says, did you have any favorite places while you were there? Any other places in Japan that you were able to travel to? He says he visited Hiroshima 10 years ago and enjoyed the Peace Museum and made the short trip to Miyajima, probably one of my top 10 favorite places in Japan. Miyajima is actually where I bought the Momiji Manju. I went to Miyajima twice, and it's an island where, and if I'm remembering it correctly, it's an island where that's known for having monkeys there, and every time we went, the monkeys just like weren't out that day, which was very odd. But I guess they had other things to do. But it is a beautiful island. I just wish I could have seen the monkeys while I was there. In Hiroshima, I do love Heiwa Koen, the Peace Park there, um, and the Genbaku Dome, which is a building that was like at the epicenter of the terrible, terrible atomic bomb that exploded there. And most of the buildings survived, and they kept what remains of it. And it was just I rode I walked past it or rode my bike past it all the time, and it was just a beautiful kind of heartbreaking place to visit. I would highly recommend visiting that. I'm glad you mentioned that, Anthony. Kyoto is my favorite city in Japan. I love Kyoto. Just because it's a mix of the old and the new. It wasn't really impacted by World War II, and so there are very, very old temples and buildings there right next to very modern looking places as well. I am most attached to Kyoto based on the food that I ate there. I love Japanese food and have a lot of favorite restaurants and places in Kyoto. But there's also just so many beautiful temples there. I forget the name of my favorite one. It's been a long time since I was there, but there are just so many beautiful temples in Kyoto, and even just in like downtown area. You don't even have to go out to like the Golden Pavilion or the Silver Pavilion. Those are beautiful to go to, but there's plenty of things to see right in downtown Kyoto as well. Cody came through with a link here. Thank you, Cody, for sharing that about the buying stocks in a company. Max says he's starting Charterstone today. That's exciting, Max. I'm glad you have a group or someone else or solo that you're doing it with. We got halfway through a Charterstone campaign when the pandemic hit. And so I have had Charterstone sitting under my board game table, like in the recessed area, for 10 months now. Or what is it, 9 months, however long it has been. Really want to get back to that at some point. Let's see. Carrie says that she loves the Oceania expansion. Will we ever get the chance to buy new neoprene mats for it? Yeah, thanks for asking about that, Carrie. Currently on our website, we do have the original player mats. The original mat is still really important. In fact, when I played Wingspan Oceania with my parents this past weekend, we used the original player mats because it's a little maybe easier to teach for someone who is new to Wingspan or hasn't played in a while, as was the case with my parents. So we didn't play with Nectar. We just played with the other birds, bonus cards, and gold tiles in Wingspan. But to answer your question, Carrie, yes, we are working on a neoprene mat for Oceania that will be double-sided. It'll have the Oceania mat on one side and the core game mat on the other, which is still very important because all future expansions are going to be based on the assumption that you don't have any other expansions, that you only have the core game. And so those expansions will use the core game mat. not the Oceania mat. They might be compatible with the Oceania mat, but they'll be designed specifically for the original mat. So that's why we're going to make double-sided player mats so that you can use either side depending on the circumstances. So we are working on that. They should be ready in a few months. Let's see if I can. I'll come back to questions in 1 second. Let me see if I have anything really important. Oh, one thing I'll throw out there, just in case you're listening to this specific thing and it impacts you. I upgraded my computer the other day. I had an older computer that was on its last legs. And one of the things that happened when I upgraded my computer, as I wrote about in a blog post on Monday, was that I lost my Outlook calendar. So my Outlook calendar is gone. It's kind of nice to start over on a fresh slate, but it means that all of my many appointments and recurring reminders, I heavily relied on weekly, monthly, and yearly annual reminders, went away. So if you had an appointment with me that I lost, feel free to email me and let me know. Or if, I don't know how this would come up, but just in case, if there's ever a thing that you are used to me doing on a regular basis, I don't know how this would be the case. I've talked to my coworkers about this, but and I sometime in the next year I just don't do it. It's because I relied too heavily on those recurring reminders. Feel free to reach out to me and say, hey Jamie, last year didn't you do this thing and you forgot this year? It's because it's not on my calendar. Just throwing that out there. Yeah, I have a few other little fun topics. Actually, just two more that I'll come back to later. Michelle says she watched my live cast last week and saw that you're from the Richmond area. Yeah, Richmond, Virginia, that area is where I grew up. Michelle says that her family is from Charlottesville and we are visiting them in 2 weeks. Are there any good game stores in Richmond that you would recommend? I want to support some local Virginia shops while I'm there. Yes, Michelle, there is a fantastic game shop called One-Eyed Jocks, or One-Eyed Jacks. I think it's spelled Jocks, like the French version, but it's One-Eyed Jocks, One-Eyed Jacks in Richmond, Virginia. And it is a wonderful game store. It's where I bought my first Magic cards and my first dice. And they do now sell Stonemaier products, among a variety of other games as well. It's a wonderful shop. It's in Carytown in downtown Richmond. Awesome, awesome store. I highly recommend that. That's the main one that I know. There are probably other ones, but that's the one that has been there for a long, long time, ever since I was there as a kid. Rafal says, can I share what my daily workout routine is? Yeah, my daily workout routine, which I do in the morning, is a combination of a couple different things. One, I do 2 strength-based workouts. It's either pull-ups or something with free weights or push-ups. Today I did some push-ups. And while I'm doing that, I mix that up with a core workout, so different types of sit-ups. And then I run up and down the stairs of my building for about 10 minutes. So I just basically try to keep my heart rate up for around 20 minutes, which I've read is kind of the sweet spot for people who don't have time for longer workouts or don't make time for that. So that's what I do pretty much every day. I take maybe 1 or 2 days off a week on the weekend, usually just one. And intermixed with that, I have gotten into disc golf. So every maybe week or so, it'll be harder in the winter, but every week or so in the fall and the summer, I was playing disc golf. And I go indoor rock climbing. We have a gym that is very safe. They limit the number of people that can go there, and I only go at odd times where hardly anyone is there. We wear masks, we sanitize our hands, and so I go indoor rock climbing once or twice a week to try to get a different variety of workout than just running up and down the stairs of my building. What about you, Rufal? What is your workout routine? Especially, I'm always curious to hear what people's workout routines are when they only have a little bit of time every day to do, a 10 or 15 minute workout. What do they do with that time? I'd love to hear about that from anyone who's watching this. Michael says, how do you feel about Tabletop Simulator for the games that you create? Do you feel it works well? Michael, yeah, that segues into a quick topic that I wanted to mention here. I mentioned earlier that Tabletopia is easier for us to work with as a company. Tabletopia has just made it really, really easy for us to get our games on their platform because I just send them the files and they take care of it from there. Tabletop Simulator is a little less responsive, but they do put quality products on their store when they make the time to do so. We don't authorize anyone else to do it. We only like Tabletop Simulator, Berserk Games specifically, to put our games on there. And you asked, do I feel it works well? I would say largely yes. I don't necessarily have the patience to play any full game on that platform. I much prefer Board Game Arena than the physics-driven platforms like Tabletopia and Tabletop Simulator. But for the purpose of playtesting, especially during these times, it is super handy. And I mentioned that because yesterday I had a wonderful playtest of of a game that is being worked on for Stonemaier Games. It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. I've been thinking about this playtest ever since I played yesterday, and so it does work for that function when there isn't an alternative. And honestly, it maybe is a little bit faster than printing a whole prototype and playing a prototype. So I think it works really well for that purpose. Joshua says, if I can only get one and based solely on your enjoyment of them, which do I pick up? Between Two Cities or Between Two Castles? I think it depends on how you're going to use it, Joshua. Between Two Castles is like a filler plus game. If you're teaching it, it might take 30 minutes. If you're not teaching it, it might take as little as 20 minutes. It's a very simple game, very streamlined. And so for the purpose of a filler or for the purpose of teaching new people or bringing them into the hobby, it's perfect. If you want something a little bit more than that, and I do, like I prefer kind of medium weight Euro games. Between Two Castles, I think, is the way to go. If I'm sitting down to play a game and I have the choice between the two, I will definitely always choose Between Two Castles, unless I am teaching someone who's very new to games, or if we just need a filler, in which case I would go with Between Two Cities. So it kind of depends on your situation, Joshua, and who you're going to play this with. But if I all other things considered, I would choose Between Two Castles. Also, I should mention here, though, that we are coming out with an expansion for Between Two Castles in a few months, maybe Q2 2021. So you could wait until then to get it if you want. And that expansion, I think of that partially because the expansion will include a solo mode for Between Two Castles, whereas the solo mode for Between Two Cities is included in the box, just in case you're hoping to play it solo. Miles has mentioned that Board Game Arena is adding one game a day for all of December. They added Thurn and Taxis for the first day, and then Welcome to New Las Vegas today. Oh, I thought they'd already added that one, but maybe it was just in beta. Justin says, how long does it take to bring your games from initial concept to launch? Did any of your games come to life quicker than others? Yeah, it really depends on the game. At a minimum, from like when I have the idea or when we accept, well, yeah, I'll talk about the games that I designed. Between when I have the idea to when we actually release it is at minimum like 18 months, because there's a lot of stuff that happens in between that time. Even just production and shipping is usually around 5 to 6 months. I have one game in progress that I've been working on for about 4 years now. That game won't even be out next year. It'll be a 2022 game, hopefully. So sometimes games take a very, very long time, and I would say between 18 months and 5 plus years. But hopefully, most games don't take that long. Most games are usually around in the 2 plus year amount of time from idea to actual delivering to customers. Frankie just wanted to drop in to say that they love Scythe. Thank you for saying that, Frankie. It says it's their favorite game. That's awesome. Jockton says, me and my brother are starting a board game channel on YouTube. I bought Wingspan and Tapestry to do them on the channel. What do you think will be the best for us? Unboxing, review, or rules? The channel will be in Spanish. So I would say this, Jockton. Two things. One, I would say, do what's the most fun for you. If you're going to sustain this channel, sustain this content that you're creating, it's got to be fun and exciting. It's got to be something that you look forward to. And at the beginning, you don't need to define that. You can try each of those different things. You could try an unboxing video, a review video, a rules video, and see what's more gratifying for you, and then do that for other games too. The other thing that I'd recommend is hopefully you have watched other YouTube channels, whether they're popular or have a lot of followers or a few followers. And I would recommend, especially in Spanish, look at the Spanish language channels, and maybe do something a little different than what those channels are doing. Even if, I'm sure there are plenty of review channels in Spanish. I know a few. You can do a review channel, but maybe put a little twist on how you do the reviews. So I would recommend trying to innovate a little bit based on information that you have about other Spanish YouTube channels and doing whatever you do a little bit differently than the way they do it. But most importantly, find something that you enjoy, that you are excited about. Yeah. Donnie says, how often do you revisit mechanism ideas that you've worked on and then abandoned? Fairly often. Usually it happens like where I'm early in the brainstorming process of a game, or I just can't figure out a mechanism for a game, and I turn to my list. I use Trello. It's a list making app, a free web based app. That's Trello. I have a long list of mechanisms and ideas, and sometimes I just look at that list for any specific game and kind of remember all these various ideas that I had. There are hundreds of ideas on here for mechanisms and themes and games and things like that. So I would say at least once per game in any development process for a game, I'll go and look at that list to see if I'm missing something that would be a great fit for that game. Let's see, Mike says, any info that you can share on the Between Two Castles expansion? We're loving the Between Two games. I'm glad you're enjoying that series. I did mention that a second ago. So one thing that I can reveal about the Between Two Castles expansion is that it will include a solo mode, which was not in the original game. So that will be one of the new things in the expansion. Ahmed says, is there a new rulebook of Scythe? Is the new rulebook for Scythe different in any way from the collected pages of all the other rulebooks? Any additions? Yeah, so he's talking about, here's the hardcover rulebook for Scythe. There is all the rulebook content in here, but it is organized together. So for example, all of the mech abilities for the various factions, instead of being separated into different sections by expansion, are all in one place. So if you want to look up mech abilities, you just go to the same like little cluster of pages here. What else can I show you here? So here's an example of this. So there are structure bonus tiles in the original game right here on this page, and the structure bonus tiles that we added in the modular board are on the very next page. So they're all right there in one place in the rulebook. So that's one thing. So the content is the same, but it's organized in a better way if you were looking up Scythe stuff. There's also a comprehensive index, a comprehensive table of contents. In addition to that, there are sections about, let's see if I can show this to you, about clarifications and FAQs. So there's a section on encounter card clarifications, things that people have asked a lot online. There's actually quite a few encounter card clarifications here. There are objective card clarifications. These aren't in the rule books because I tried to write these cards so they wouldn't need clarifications. Frequently overlooked rules, things like that. So FAQs, so there is additional content that isn't in the original rule books, as well as some variants and things like that. Yeah. But mostly it's the organization of all that content. So you don't have to go from one rulebook to the next. It's all in this one rulebook. Mick says, what's your favorite game of all time and my favorite type of game? Yeah, you might want to check out my YouTube channel for this, Mick, if you're curious about it. The last time I did a favorite game of all time list, which was a few months ago, I believe I listed Seven Wonders Duel, and Seven Wonders is my favorite games. I did, however, base that list off of games that I had played within the last 6 months, because I revisit that list every 6 months. So that list is somewhat limited because this has been a weird year. I haven't played a lot of games in person except for with Megan. My favorite type of game, I actually did a list very recently about my top 12 favorite mechanisms in all games. That's on YouTube as well. And my favorite mechanism that I chose was worker placement. I love worker placement games. I think I'm done with the one other topic that I haven't covered yet is that I just played Chronicles of Crime 1400, the new version in the Millennium series of Chronicles of Crime, and we had a lot of fun with it. Megan and I played through the tutorial mission and one of the first missions in it, and we had a blast. Really, really cool game, especially if you like solving mysteries and games. Oh, and one other topic actually a couple other topics, then I'll just do questions for the rest of the time, from the e-newsletter. I'm looking at my other monitor here. We do have a special, or Top Shelf Gamer, one of our partners, has a special right now for Stonemaier Games customers, where you can get a 20% discount on a bunch of different tokens on their website. They specialize in like special realistic tokens, similar to those and often the same as the ones that we used to make. We actually sold our realistic resource brand to Top Shelf Gamer, and they sell those tokens on their website. And so they have a bunch of them on sale right now that look really, really nice. And there's a promo code just for Stonemaier Games customers if you look at the e-newsletter. The promo code is Stonemaier2020 on the Top Shelf Gamer website. I also listed our gift guide on the e-newsletter, and as well as a link to my crowdfunding book in case you have a special like entrepreneur in your life who is looking to start a business, looking to try crowdfunding. They can use a guide that I wrote a couple years ago to help them along that process. So it's a great gift if you have someone in your life who you want to help inspire and on their journey to be a small business owner. And I think that's it. Oh, I guess the main digital update in the e-newsletter is that Wingspan Oceania and Tapestry Plans Employees and Pendulum are all now on Tabletopia. I think that's it for the e-newsletter. I'll jump back to it in case there's anything else that I missed over there. Feel free to check it out to see if I missed anything. Okay, back to questions. Tim says he recently found out that Stone Blade Entertainment is releasing a new expansion for Shards of Infinity next year. It's called Into the Horizon. That is awesome. I am excited about that. Into the Horizon. Megan and I absolutely loved the cooperative expansion to Shards of Infinity, which is called Shadow of Salvation. One of my favorite expansions ever. So it's really, really good. Um, He also says that Justin Gary, the designer of Ascension and Shards of Infinity, is publishing a game called A Night of the Ninja. I'll have to check that out too. Justin Gary is a really, really good designer. Night of the Ninja. He says maybe it didn't fit with his other games. Have you considered publishing a game with another company if it didn't fit with Stonemaier Games? Actually, kind of based on our operating agreement at Stonemaier Games, I am not allowed, and this is something that I chose to opt into, I am not allowed to design a game for another company because all of my time should be and is committed to Stonemaier Games. So I basically don't spend time on games that Stonemaier Games wouldn't publish. Every now and then I like brainstorm for an hour about some random game that would not fit into Stonemaier Games at all, but that's stuff that I'll have to wait until maybe the distant future when I am not running Stonemaier Games anymore, if that day ever comes. Elton says, "Are there any good Japanese restaurants in St. Louis?" Yeah, there are. There are a lot of sushi restaurants. I like Wasabi. I like Kampai. Um, Drunken Fish has good rolls. Pokedoke is really good. What else? I'm sure I'm missing some really good Japanese restaurants. There's Oishi is pretty good. I love Mr. Sushi is good. Yeah, a lot of good sushi restaurants in St. Louis. Adam says, would I ever consider dropping the Essential edition from Viticulture since it's the only edition currently in print? The words Essential Edition, probably not at this point because I don't want to confuse people. But I call it Viticulture at this point. It's the only version of Viticulture that we've made for 5 years now. It's the only version of Viticulture that we ever plan to make. Hopefully, it isn't confusing for people to see that name, but that's the name and the art that I think people are very used to seeing on Viticulture. Tim says, "Have I ever thought about getting a Mac?" No, no. I do. I have an iPhone. I like Macs or I like the iOS platform for my phone, and I like iPads. But for my computer, I am just so used to a PC and Windows. I don't think I could break from that. I've tried. At my last job, my boss had a Mac, and I could do things on it, but it does some things that are just weird to me that I can't get that I could never really get over. I just prefer a PC. Mike says, I lost my Outlook calendar, but not other email. No, I lost everything. I lost all of my email and my calendar. The calendar, and you're right, it should all be in one OST file or one PST file, but I made the mistake. I wrote about this in a blog post on Monday. I made the mistake of not knowing where that file was until after I transferred my computer over. And then even after I turned on my old computer to find out where that file was, I could not find it. And my computer can't find it either. So I don't know where that file is. And I kind of got to the point in setting up the computer over this weekend where I realized that a fresh start is actually kind of nice. Like my OST file was many gigabytes of emails at that point, and all those emails are still online on the cloud on Gmail. So still have access to all those emails. They're not divided into the folders in Outlook where I had them. So I'm actually kind of enjoying the fresh start, even though there are some growing pains to remembering what was on my calendar and reminding Outlook of all these email addresses that it should already know. Cooper says, what's my favorite non-Stonemaier worker placement game? It's a tough one. I need to revisit this list at some point because the last worker placement list I made was a few years ago. I'm going to say Lords of Waterdeep. Um, because it's probably the worker placement game that I don't know. Well, it's tough. That is the game that I chose for this format. But I also loved Solkin. I love Architects of the West Kingdom. Um, what other worker placement games do I love? Looking on my shelf right now. Don't actually have a ton on my shelf right now. But yeah, those are a few of the big ones that I really really love. Um, but I'm always excited to play a new worker placement game to see what different things the designer has done with it. The main one on my list, the new one on my list that I really want to play is Lost Ruins of Arnak, but I can't seem to find a copy of it anywhere. I'm not even sure if it's actually officially released yet, but I've seen so many reviewers talk about it, and I can't find anywhere to order it. If any of you know where to get a copy of Lost Ruins of Arnak, let me know. Danny says, any plans for a top 10 favorite games video for 2020 by the end of the year? Maybe some games shifted since your February video. Um, I do my top 10 favorite games of all time video. I do it twice a year. I do it like February and August. I am planning on doing a top 10 games of 2020. And that's I think that's what you were saying. A top 10 games of 2020 video right at the end of the year, maybe at the beginning of 2021, because there might be games that I play on the last weekend of 2020. So I am working on that. I have a list of games that I am thinking about for that list. Kind of work on that list all throughout the year. Let's see, any other questions here? Tatine says, ever since the release of Plans and Ploys, have there been any noticeable imbalances with the new civs that people have sent in their play logs? Any balance changes announced soon? So I have talked about this with our data analysis guy, Jeremy, and we couldn't find anything that needed changing yet. There are certain factions that look like they're maybe a little bit better or a little bit worse than the mean or the average, but nothing as pronounced as some of the original civilizations that were definitely too strong or definitely too weak. So uh, as of yet, we are not planning to make any changes, but it is possible that we will need to adjust some things after we get enough data. We're still gathering data. If you're playing Tapestry with the expansion, we would love for you to report that data on our website so that we can make any small starting adjustments to any of the new civilizations or any of the new old civilizations if necessary. Betsy says, do you know of a good place to upload free print and play games? I'm working on some games that I would love to share with people, but I don't currently have any interest in getting published or selling the games. Yeah, I love that question, Betsy. I love that you're looking to share that content with people. And I am blanking on the name of it though. There definitely is a website that consolidates print and play games, and I know that um, they have my print and play game, Rolling Realms, on their website somehow. The only thing I can think of right now, Betsy, because I can't think of the name of it, maybe someone in the comments will know, is go to the Rolling Realms page on the Stonemaier Games website and look at the comments for pingbacks to see if the website that I'm thinking of has posted a link to that page and it's pinging back to that page. That's the only thing I can think of off the bat. Maybe there is something else in the comments there, or hopefully someone will know the website that I'm thinking of here, because there definitely is one. I just can't think of it right now. Rolling with Rock says, does the hardcover Scythe rulebook fit in the legendary box with Broken Token? I don't know about Broken Token. I don't have their insert, but yeah, if you remove all of the other Scythe rulebooks and replace them with this, which you can totally do, because this has all those rulebooks content in it, it will fit in the legendary box. Let's see. Alexander says that he's been very entertained with Scythe solo play during the pandemic, which I'm always glad to hear. We are very lucky to work with Team Altama and their solo variants for our games, especially during a pandemic year. Tim says, have I done a video on your favorite out-of-print games? Also, are there any that you'd love to get the rights to publish with Stonemaier Games? That is a good question, Tim. I would need to have a way to source that information, favorite out-of-print games, but maybe our ambassadors can help out with that. Because it's hard to tell if a game is actually out of print or if it's just out of stock. Out-of-print games. I will think about that if there's some games that would fall onto that list. Yeah, I like the idea of that list, Tim. I need to figure out a way to actually put it together. I don't know if I can search for that category on Board Game Geek. Mick says, I don't know if you've already seen this, but there's a great feel-good game made in Quebec called Totem. Get a look, it's pretty cool. Cool, yeah, I haven't heard of Totem, but I will check that out. Thanks for the recommendation. Thwan says that he just finished. Oh, he says, thanks for my book recommendations. I completed the audiobook for The Way of Kings yesterday to look forward to listening to the rest of the series. He says he does a lot of driving for work. He also listened to the first three books of the Red Rising series, one of my all-time favorite series. I'm in reference to The Way of Kings. I'm currently reading book four, which is really, really good so far. He says he's holding off on the remaining books due to mediocre reviews for the audiobooks. Oh, that's too bad. I've loved all five books in the Red Rising series. It's kind of two different trilogies. One of the trilogies isn't finished yet. Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying those books. Thanks for chiming in about that. Tim says that he appreciates that our standard is to have games that play from 1 to 5 players, sometimes even more, sometimes 6 or 7 players. He says he's been buying games for Christmas that are 2 to 4 players. A lot of games are just 2 to 4 players, and it's frustrating when you have a fifth player in that group. Yeah, that's like the Stonemaier way. We want games that can play for 1 player, play for couples or roommates, and also play up to 5 or 6 players. We will not publish a game if it can only be played between 2 and 4 players. Rafal says I know you used to play Dominion in the past. Do you still play it, or did you get burnt out on it? I did play it a lot. I played it a lot for a long time. I haven't played much of it over the years, but we did recently pick up Megan's collection of Dominion. I think I had actually given away all my Dominion stuff, but we picked up Prosperity, the core game, and what is that? Intrigue. Yeah, thanks, Megan. Intrigue. I don't love Intrigue because it has some like negative direct player interaction, but I love Prosperity, and so I'm sure we'll probably play it at some point. We will be in the mood for Dominion because it is a wonderful game to play, and so I will revisit it from time to time. Do you have a favorite expansion, Rafal, or anyone watching this? Do you have a favorite Dominion expansion? Maybe even one that I haven't played because I kind of stopped playing after Seaside, I think, or maybe was there an Alchemy expansion? I think I tried one that was like Alchemy related. George says that his friendly local game store has plenty of copies of Lost Ruins of Arnak, but George, I don't think you're in the U.S., so it might be hard to find it. But maybe I should call a local game store. I typically look online because they list what they have in stock, but there is a store that I can call to see if they have it. Rafal says, do I play any of my games solo? I've only played one of my games solo, and that is Viticulture, and that was just to see what the solo mode was all about. But I generally do not play games solo. I trust the Automa team to do a great job with the solo modes. Eric says, if I were to create another expansion for Scythe, what areas would you be interested in exploring? He lists a few options here: 1920 North America, 1940, a prequel to 1900, or something completely different. Eric, that's a tough question to ask because I literally have spent no brain power on that question at all because I know that we're not going to do another expansion for Scythe. And a lot of it would be like, this is completely hypothetical because it will not happen. We're not doing another expansion for Scythe. But if we ever did, during the times when that possibility was open, I would have let Jakob lead that process. If there was a story in that world that Jakob wanted to tell with an expansion, I would let him choose it, and I would design based on that. Yeah. Carol's here. Hey, Carol. Carol says, I think you would like to try Dwellings of Eldervale. I think you would like to see how, when you spend your turn retrieving workers, like in Charterstone, you get to place workers in a personal tableau to gain resources and still do other actions. It's neat. That's cool. That's really cool to hear that there's something satisfying to do on turns where you're just retrieving workers. Yeah, I love that idea of retrieving workers in creative ways to keeping that flow of the game going, not having to make it a choice. When do I retrieve workers? When is the right time for me to do this? And have that be a meaningful choice. I'll make a note of that. Thank you. Eric says that Lost Ruins of Arnak is being released on December 17th. You can pre-order on a few sites. That's good to know. A lot of the sites that I've seen are sold out on their pre-orders, so I haven't found a way to do that. But that's good to know that there is an official release. I hadn't been able to find that either. There we go. David listed P&P Arcade as the place to go to get print and play games. Thank you, David. Yeah, that was the place that I was thinking of, I'm pretty sure, for the question asked earlier about that. Jonathan says that Game Nerds has Lost Ruins of Arnak for pre-order. And for January 29th. You know, the weird thing here, Jonathan, and this is the thing that I run into in running a company too, is that when I see a company listing a hot game for pre-order, I no longer, so when I say a retailer doing this, not a publisher, but a retailer, I don't, I no longer really know or trust that they actually are getting that stock of the games. Just because of our experience with Wingspan, where we had so many retailers selling Wingspan that they didn't know that they were actually going to get. They didn't know if they had those exact quantities. So I almost trust the other retailers, like Miniature Market. I often buy from Miniature Market because they're here in St. Louis. I might trust them a little bit more because if you go on their website right now, they're sold out of Lost Ruins of Arnak because that means that they knew how many copies they were getting and they only sold that many. And I'm not sure that is the case with Game Nerds. Uh, I, I, if someone from Game Nerds wants to chime in to correct me on that, let me know. But it just throws up a red flag when I see certain retailers like Miniature Market and Cool Stuff who have sold out of their designated pre-order quantity, and I see other retailers who are continuing to accept pre-orders. It just seems a little suspicious to me. Sounds like you have had a good experience with that, Jonathan, but I thought about that because I did see the Game Nerds had it, but I am just not confident that they actually know that they're getting those quantities. And I don't want to pre-order something if it's actually going to be 6 months before I can get it, especially if there are other retailers that might actually have a copy for me to buy. Carol says that she missed the beginning of the video. How was your holiday with your parents and the crab cakes? Yeah, I did talk about this at the beginning of the video. We had a wonderful time. We played some games, we ate some good food and cooked some good food, shared some good St. Louis food with my parents. My dad helped me fix up, or helped us fix up a lot of things in our condo that needed little improvements here and there. And my mom even brought this cat painting that she commissioned of Walter, or Biddy over here and Walter over here. Rafal says that his favorite Dominion expansions are Renaissance, Adventures, and Empires. He says playing with landscapes, events, and projects is a great way of playing it. You and Megan would also have enjoyed it. And he also likes Prosperity. You know, I'm curious. One of the things that Megan and I really enjoyed in the last year was the cooperative expansion to Shards of Infinity, another deck building game. Does Dominion have a cooperative expansion? Because that might be interesting to try at some point if they do. All right, I think I've covered all of my topics for today, and I'm at the end of the questions here, and you all have some great recommendations that you talked to me about on this video. So I think I'm going to call it and put this video on YouTube and try to figure out how I can get a better resolution on the camera from now on, because this resolution is so low. But yeah, thank you for joining me today. Check out our e-newsletter, fill out that demographic survey if you have a minute, and I will see you next week, next Wednesday. Take care. Bye.